Welcome, disc golfers, to the 2024 Tim Selinske United States Masters Disc Golf Championships presented by Innova Disc. This is a PDGA Major event, is age protected, and we are down right outside of Raleigh, Cary, North Carolina, providing this coverage. I am Chris German, co-founder, co-owner of Gatekeeper Media, and we have Latitude 64's Kevin Gleason coming in for comms for this event. 4 rounds. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for the invite. This is a really cool course. I believe it's been around for almost 25 years, but I believe they kind of revamped it, redid it over the last year or so. So let's get into it. Feature card this week will be, I believe, Cale Leviska, Scott Conway, Paul Oman, and Steve Brinster.
Yeah, Paul Oman, I believe, might be 39 because this is my first time seeing him in a Masters event.
Yeah, Paul is just now of age. Here we are, hole 1, 350 feet, tight, wooded hole, straight shot. Probably most of them are going to be throwing a mid-range, maybe even a putter, and all you want to do is not hit the tree on the left or right.
Let's start this off with, from Wintersville, North Carolina, Scott Conway.
Scott stepping up to the pad. Scott is what would I'd say maybe the local?
Yeah, grew up a lot on the eastern side of North Carolina, but he did say that he was out this way for quite some time and considered these his local courses.
Okay. I think I heard that Scott has probably 100 or more rounds at this course, so
yeah.
I think he's going to play it just fine today.
He knows the spots.
He caught one of the trees 3/4 away down the fairway, kicked over to the right. It should be a fairly easy up and down from there.
So we saw Cale at U.S. Masters last year in Oregon, and he had that run with Philo. That was his first chance to take down a Masters major. And then since then, I mean, with the Worlds, the Master Worlds events, Joe Revere's really been the leader there. So Cale's still looking for that Masters major win. And I think with a shot like this, Kevin, this is a good start.
7 feet away.
Yeah.
I would love to be 7 feet away after I took that tee shot.
Highest rated here today by 10 points. So one might say the favorite.
Paul Oman. And Paul Oman's one of my favorite people to talk to, one of my favorite people to play with. He's got his own unique form. He's so smooth off the tee, and he's a great guy.
Yeah, I don't know who put Cale and Paul on the same card, but we might be in for some shenanigans today.
I'd believe it.
And it's very exciting to see, like, kind of the new talent coming into the master field. I mean, we see Cale, Philo. We're going to start seeing Sexton, Germ.
I hope I turn 50 very soon so I don't have to play against any of those names you just said. Steve Brinster. I played with Brinster numerous times up towards the Philadelphia area, your area. And U.S. DGC former champion.
Yeah. I believe the only Pro Master title on this card. Or not Pro, but
Major.
Pro Major. That's what I meant. My apologies.
And I know Steve's usually throwing a rock. Not sure what he threw here, but probably something along that line. Caught a tree halfway down. And Scott's going to have just some little turnover. And that looks like a berg in his hand.
Flies like a bird.
Definitely flew like a berg. I believe that was a berg. Steve made it down a little farther than it actually looked in the video. He's got like a little maybe anti-float at it.
Yeah, similar angle to Scott, just a little closer. Can give it an honest bid. And
I think that was more of a layup.
yeah.
And then we got Paul and Cale. Scott tapping in, par, bag on back. It looks like it's going to be 2 down for the card on this one.
Good birdie for Paul. Good birdie for Cale.
And Brinster dropping in an easy 3. Heading over to hole 2. You either want to throw something sidearm, maybe a putter off the tee. Your landing zone is somewhere about right here where the drone is. You know, if you can push farther in, that's great. From that corner, it's probably about a 280, 300 foot to the basket. And just throw something with a little anhyzer, let it fall straight to the basket.
Yeah, I would say the theme of this course that we're going to see is a lot of placement golf. I think this is the prime example. You could just throw it straight here and just get right to the mouth and be in a good spot. Whereas if you push a little too long, you could be in a tougher spot. You have to choose which lane to go down. I really like this hole. I think this is a great par 4 to start off.
It almost looked like Cale might have put it a touch long. The side hand is probably one of the better plays, even though Paul came up a little bit short. It puts you right there in that good position.
This looks great from Scott. That's going to be right at the mouth there.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's probably that 300-foot up shot I was talking about. Brinster was a little bit inside, hit that big corner tree, and kept going.
Oh, look at that.
I couldn't tell. Did that hit a tree and kick
It hit
back
a
in?
tree and kicked right center cut.
Very nice. As you can see, Scott's got the straight line at it. I believe he's throwing his volt right here. Little anti-flex and then fall to the basket.
Oh, this is looking great.
That's how I thought about playing that hole the night before I played that hole, but I didn't play the hole that way.
Hey, man.
A little bit of replay. Nice little skip. Inside the circle, what, 15 feet away?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty routine birdie there for Scott.
And if you look here, you can see Cale's taking this far left tight fairway. He almost pushed it a little too far off the tee.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was saying earlier. And, I mean, he was only maybe 10 feet and longer than Scott. So it just goes to show 5 feet could really make a difference on your angles here.
You really only need to go 250 to 300 feet off the tee. You don't really want to go maybe a little bit more, but you don't want to hit that 350 to 400 mark or you're really out of place.
Look at Steve just center cut for catching that tree. Should be able to save par here.
I believe he's going to save par.
Yeah. Tricky one here for Paul.
Yeah, throw a little cut sidearm. And put it up high and let it float left.
Oh, no.
And he came in, just hit that corner tree. Didn't push it enough.
And it took Cale a minute to decide whether he was going to go to the left or the right. And I think that was pretty good for, like, he executed the shot that he wanted, I believe. And easy par there for him.
Yeah, I think if he had gone maybe 50 foot farther, which I believe puts you probably at that 4 to 450 range, you can get a shot. But such a hard shot to get there that far down. This is Paul for bogey, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be the first blemish.
This is one of those courses that it's so tight, it's so wooded that, you know, like you said before, you just really want to try your control game, throw your control game more than anything, because when you get off the fairway, it's hard to get back.
Yeah.
There's so many pine trees, so many trees all over the place that it's just tough. And there goes Scott with a nice birdie.
Yeah, he gets on the scoreboard.
And Brinster with a great par save.
Yeah. Feels good to get par here knowing you hit a tree early on the fairway.
And kept going. Like didn't even hit a second tree to slow him down. One of the most scenic holes, I think, on the whole course. You got this little bendy tree right here. The hole's only about 300 feet. Yeah, 303 feet. Putter mid-range. Or maybe even a flippy fairway to where you throw a hyzer at underneath the tree and let it flip up and run to the basket.
Beat it. Come on, get sneaky, baby.
Oh, no way.
Now, is that a local route, or did Scott release it?
That might be a shank birdie there.
Yeah. But I know Scott well enough that he knows this course well enough that there's probably going to be a couple shots that he's going to throw that you're not even going to think about. While you're out
for
there.
sure. Oh, this is looking great from Cale.
Come around, soften up. Got a good little
flare
skip.
there. Yeah,
Little
he's going to be
flare.
outside the circle.
It is outside, yes. I was going to say either outside or right step inside. Right down that left tree and flip up, and it just didn't have enough time. He should be able to get up and down for his par from there, though.
This looks
Maybe.
all right from Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, right around the circle's edge. Putt.
Great shot there from Steve.
Steve's playing the scramble golf, and like wooded courses like this, you're going to find yourself having to scramble. And if you can scramble and save par on these holes, you can shoot really well on a course like this. Get down. Paul with a little smirk on his face, knowing it just needed to drop just a couple inches. Cale with a nice circle's edge putt,
Yeah,
maybe
I'd
a
say
step
circle's
outside.
edge.
Yeah,
Might have been step in.
those are good putts, though, man. Hole 3 hits you a nice little 30-footer, 35-footer. Makes you feel good for your round to go on. Oh, Conway just a little bit right.
Yeah, that's a blunder there. Inside the circle miss for Scott after getting very fortunate making it through the woods there.
I'm sure he'll turn it around.
Oh, I'm sure.
Miss a putt like that, shake it off, go to your next hole. There's still 4 rounds of golf to play.
Yeah. Cale with the lone birdie.
Here we are at hole 4. Really cool hole. You just want to throw something straight, maybe a little hyzer that flips to the right, something understable, and let it turn and just float in here. Maybe a flippy fairway putter or a flippy mid-range. 348 feet, but probably the downhill slope, it only plays about 320 or so.
Cale's going to be looking at circle 2 from there.
So I've watched a video of Scott playing this hole before, and he actually takes that inside route, which I wouldn't even have thought of. But being a local, he that's his shot on this one. So that was not a shank. That was actually where he was aiming. Brinster goes down the. Oh, that's a beautiful flip up.
The more traditional line, and
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Picture perfect. Little hyzer on a flippy disc and let it just turn and go to the basket.
Oh, that was cooking.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, he's circle 2 there, long.
Cale, probably what, 50, 55 footer?
Ooh.
A little bit more height. Great line on it.
Yeah, we've already seen some early metal hits. There's another one.
Scott's step inside the circle, I believe. And that's how you do it. Missed a little putt on the hole before. Get to the next hole. Hit a good putt.
Good birdie there for Scott. This was a middle of the pack kind of hole. 0.11 under par. 27 birdies on the day. Came out to about 23%. After, honestly, hole 1 and 2 were some of the hardest holes on the course. So this course really starts with some teeth with hole 1 and 2.
And I was one of the 27 birdies on this hole.
Hey, there you go.
Nice step putt from outside the circle.
Hey, call him when you see him.
But I really enjoyed hole 4. Just, I love a slow turnover shot with an Anheuser.
Yeah, and the theme of this course is kind of that 300 to 350 par 3, especially on the back 9. So we're going to see a lot more holes like that, I think.
Yeah. Hole 5, 673-foot par 5. You're trying to get somewhere, I would say, right around here on your first drive. Second shot, throw it somewhere in this area. I guess if you threw a really good first and second shot, you could probably get a chance for an eagle. But it's so tough off the tee that it's a hard birdie.
I want to give a shout out to Alan, the assistant TD there. He swept every single tee pad for our lead card here today, and also went out there and swept throughout the day during the women's and other divisions as well. So big shout out to him being out there and making sure the tee pads were perfect, especially because there was, I believe, like a tropical storm that came through maybe a couple days or a week before. So the course was pretty wet. As we'll see, some of the OB actually got pushed up because the stakes were in the water. So they did have to make a couple last-minute changes here due to the weather.
Yeah, you just saw Brinster throw. He went way too straight. Cale needs this to turn.
This looks good from Cale.
That looks great. Yeah, it's almost an Anheuser off the tee the entire time. It looks like you want to throw an S, but you really can get yourself in trouble if you go to the left side. Paul smashed that.
Yeah, and good movement there on the back end of the flight.
Yeah, it looks like he's just maybe a tad too long, but I think he'll be just fine from there. And here's Steve playing that scramble golf. Great shot.
All right, the course is given to him when he needs it. That's good.
Some rounds, sometimes, man, you're playing scramble golf. The trees kick you in the right direction. You smile, you laugh, you enjoy it. And then other times you're like, man, these trees hate me today.
Decent shot there from Cale.
Looks like Scott has either an Anheuser or straight down the middle. He went straight down the middle.
That was a great shot there from Scott.
That was a really good shot. Yeah, he's in prime position. Throwing that down the middle through the trees is always,
little trickier here for Paul on the angle. But it looks like he's going to execute as well.
Yeah. And he was maybe a couple feet too long off that drive, but as you can see, he's just fine. Steve's probably trying to just get a hyzer around to the top of the corner to where he can maybe still get up and down and save his par. And that's exactly what he did. He should have a line to the basket from there. Man, Conway must be landing where he wants to because he keeps getting these picture perfect lines. Oh. Rolled it over just a little bit on that.
Yeah, he could have been looking at a birdie inside the circle there.
Beautiful sidearm from Paul.
Cale's just maybe a little out of position, kind of on the right side of the fairway here. Needs to throw a very beautiful Anheuser shot. Look at that, Kevin.
That was great. That was amazing.
Great shot there from Cale.
The one thing about these Masters players is the touch game.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for so long. Brinster, that'll be for save his par, I believe.
Yeah, this came in as the second hardest hole. So there's 2 par 5s on the course. Both of them are brutal in terms of scoring. This one, second hardest quarter or a half a stroke over par. And it goes to show, I mean, a 670-foot par 5 that is very fair can score very difficult if you get off the fairway.
It's very fair, but you're only throwing 250 to 3 off the tee, and then you're trying to throw another 250 to 3 and then get up to the basket. So just a touchy par 5.
Yeah, and we're going to see a couple birdies. That is great to see. Only 14 on the day. So all these guys are gaining strokes on the field here.
2 down for the card. Really good. Here we go. Hole 6, 282-foot par 3. You're just wanting to throw a putter with a tad bit of anhyzer and let it drift to the left. Just like this. Maybe a little bit inside.
Ooh.
Caught that one last tree in the fairway. A little bit more turn on it, he would have been right there at the basket.
Yeah, I know Cale thought that one was good. He was wondering what happened when he came down and saw his disc in circle 2, and he just caught that last little tree there.
Pause a little bit inside also with a good kick right to edge of circle. If it pushes through, he might get a putt at that.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Brinster with his, I played with Steve enough just to watch that standstill shot. And that looks to be about the best.
Oh, yeah, that is
Beautiful.
a little bit of movement there on the end, but beautiful shot.
Not too many holes that have a lot of roll away. Cale just,
Another one.
yeah, another one. That's what I was about to say. Yeah, Conway's got a nice little putt. Looks like he's got a little opening through the trees with a little straddle. You'll find yourself having to putt about every way you've ever practiced.
Yeah. Oh, Scott.
It's just a little short. You'll be straddle putting, spin putting, maybe even turbo putting behind a bush. This course brings out every bit of your game.
Yeah. Yeah, I really do like this course. And I think you said it, I mean, it's been around for about 25 years, but this is a pretty new redesign that they did for this event here, correct?
Correct. I believe the new concrete pads just went in the last few weeks to a month.
Yeah, it's been a week or two since those pads are in, and I don't know how you feel about them. You're the one playing, but I think they're beautiful. They are great tee pads.
So if you've ever played, Brinster just a little bit high on that. If you've ever played in North Carolina, you know there's a lot of red clay. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of worried with these new pads that the clay was going to stick on the pads, but the pads are big enough. You know, they've made them extra wide, it seems. And the red clay, and it's really not been a problem for me myself. You know, it gets on your shoes, but
Yeah, I think them being such large pads kind of helps with that. It doesn't force it to all be at one spot. You can step on the side of the pad, and it's like no one ever stepped there.
yeah, correct. You know, usually everybody's playing right there in the same spot, but we're spreading it out a little bit. Hole 7, par 5. Maybe the hardest hole on the course, but you want to land right back there where the drone just went. Your second shot's going to be somewhere around this area. And then your third shot needs to be long enough, but just short enough of the water, because the water's 15, 20 feet away from behind it.
Like the drone there, just follow the light. You'll eventually find the basket. This hole is brutal, and in fact is the hardest hole on the course.
And I'm not sure what Paul threw. I'm not sure what they're going to throw off the tee. You really only have to throw a mid-range off the tee and try to get right there to that landing zone straight ahead. Some people might chance it and really go for it and try to push it up the hill, but it's such a technical shot.
Yeah, I think the second shot is more where you need to try to gain that distance to work down the fairway. This, just like that.
That's perfect. It looks like Cale threw a putter mid-range. You know, just something a little floaty. You just want to go down there and hit the corner. And it's like every other hole out here. You need to be in the fairway to really play this course.
That's looking good from Scott.
Get a
If
little
it
left,
stays
don't get on
there.
the
Oh,
tree.
yeah.
That's still a great shot.
If that just funneled a little bit over, he would have been prime.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I heard that Brinster might have thrown this hole really well. I guess whoever told me that wasn't lying. That's where a lot of people are on their second shot. That was impressive. He's got a chance to go for the eagle. Let's see if he goes for it or not.
Yeah, still a lot of distance. So he's going to have to throw another perfect shot. And this corridor here. And Cale is showing us how to do it. That is a perfect shot.
Yeah, so if you notice, you can see it's a downhill slope at the top of the hill. So you really need to throw something understable. Throw it with a little bit of hyzer up the hill. That way it fights down and doesn't just hyzer out into the woods one way or the other.
Very easy to throw nose up there. As Scott's going to go with the overhand.
Scott is a really good thumber player. Brinster is almost at the top of the hill.
Wow. Yeah, spoiler alert, that's not the first thumber we're going to see from Scott today. As Steve just keeps it a little inside.
He got a little bit inside, but he's
down kind of where Cale is. So.
Yeah, he's still in a great position. And you can really tell the drop-off right here from where Paul is. Paul put it a little bit right and kicked over into the left. Conway looking at maybe just an overstable sidearm again. Yeah. That was a great shot.
Yeah, it was.
Don't ever be scared or worried about pitching out on a course like this, because you really can get yourself in trouble unless you just play a safe game sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, North Carolina golf is known for this. Is like when you get off the fairway, it really baits you to want to progress. Not all the courses here, but some courses that you think you can progress down the fairway, so then you get a little aggressive because you see a little line and you're like, oh, I can get down there because there's not a lot of underbrush or anything. But
there was always a lot of trees in North Carolina golf.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate. I grew up an hour from here. Never played this course, even though it'd been in 25 years, and just never made it. And watched many videos over the years and heard great things about it. I'm glad I was finally able to make it here. Cales needs to slow down.
Yeah,
he got the green flag.
He's putting for birdie.
Spotters on almost every hole that had water. It was great. I gave this spotter down here a thank you tag from Latitude 64, and he's like, you know what? You gave my kids some at Pro World, so I thought that was kind of cool. I was like,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at a little floaty Anheuser. Try to hit flat and slide to the basket.
Yeah, I think that's going to be his putt for par.
Yeah. Now, Cale, is this putt for birdie, I believe?
Yeah. Not having to worry about
Three.
the slope. No.
Did it stay in bounds?
Yeah, I believe so.
3 tickled chains for Cale from outside the circle so far.
Yeah, this hole, Kevin, was the hardest hole, like I mentioned. 0.95 over par, so played just about an entire stroke over par. This was a par 6 for most of the field.
It was a par 6 for me.
Shout out Adam Halford and Jason Clark. They were the only 2 birdies on the day for the MP40 division.
That's wild. I thought you were about to say eagle.
Pooh. No, that would be wild.
It's okay. Well, I don't feel as bad about my 6 now. Yeah, Cale's in bounds.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, 6 is not bad when you see 7s, 8s, and even some 9s down there. So this hole showing its teeth and definitely the hardest one on the course.
But look at that background.
Whew.
What is that back there?
I believe that's a nuclear reactor for nuclear energy.
Yeah. Very scenic, very iconic. Anytime you see anything about Buckhorn, you see that in the picture. Hole 8, I believe, the shortest hole on the entire course. You have to throw through about a 15, 20-foot gap off the tee. The OB is 5 feet away on the right side, 40 feet behind it. Just hit the gap and try not to overturn it.
Should be a fun putt.
Cale threw a good shot, just straight ahead, threw it right there in the ditch. He'll have a putt at it.
Oh, Scott, you luck box.
As lucky as you possibly can.
I think Scott might have said that was lucky.
He's going to be putting for birdie as well. That'll be a good birdie to grab here after getting a couple pars.
Brinster a little off, a little left. You can see that it's just that one gap. It's those two trees right there in the middle. Now this needs to slow down. It did. You hit the top of that hill with sidearm, it's going to skip, and 95% of the time it's going to be OB. The OB is 6-7 feet from there. Brinster caught a tree, but he should.
Yeah, he should have this. Death putt, but
Yeah.
Cale looking for his birdie. Oh, no.
Now 4 left side chains. Brinster to save par. That's
Nice
a great
putt.
save.
Man, Steve is stringing the scramble shots together. Saving par all day long. Only 1 under, but keeping his head above water. Scott with his string of pars. This is to end that streak and grab a birdie.
There you go. And I think I said 5 or 6 feet OB. That looks closer to 3 foot. It is, but for a 200-foot hole, you got to have something there to make it a little bit harder.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out. There was an ace on the day here on hole 8. Shout out to Kyle Foreman with the 1, which that's wild. That was probably going to be if it didn't hit the chains.
It was. I was the group in front of him.
Oh,
we were
okay,
turned.
so-
We were turned around looking, and right when I turned around, it hit hard. So the basket saved it from going OB. Hole 9, 294 feet. Water everywhere, and actually the water's higher than when we practiced the course because the flooding, the rain, the storm that came through 3 days early. You really just want to push something straight through the trees and fall off to the left.
Yeah, this is a good example of what I mentioned with the OB being pushed up to the water line because everything was underwater. You could see all that water there on the fairway. That was a great shot there from Scott.
Yeah, that's beauty of a shot.
Should be able to grab another birdie here to finish out the front 9.
It's a little deceiving off the tee. You think you can just throw a straight hyzer, but if you do, there's a lot of trees that are right here tucked into the water line.
Oh, no.
I am so sorry, Paul. I was just explaining the hole, but that's what happens if you turn it too soon. There's so many little guardian trees that just kick you OB. That looks picture perfect by Cale.
Yeah, that is cooking.
That was a great tree. Slowed him down.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, Steve. Down the middle.
Hits the gap. Let's see if it's going to
It's got a good turn to it.
in. Oh, yeah.
There it is.
Awesome. Oh, no. And Kevin, that was out by, the smallest
What
of
did-
margins.
What did it do? It hit that little tree and just rolled back
And
a
just
little
roll
bit.
and just roll
Man.
down. Then a missed putt there. This is a
That's one of those frustration putts where you just, I don't like seeing anybody do that.
no. Tough to watch. Tough triple there for Paul. But still plenty of golf. Needs to keep fighting.
Half the rounds over. 3 more rounds after this. A lot of golf still to play. Scott with a nice birdie. What do we got? Scott at 4 down right now. 4 through 9. That's a great start. The back 9 plays, I would say, a tad bit easier.
Yeah, I would agree.
There's a little bit more birdie opportunities. Nice, good stretch of birdie opportunities coming up.
Boy, the putting is just all over today for the card. Kevin, we just need to finish this video here, man. This whole 9.
Okay, Cale.
Oh, Cale.
There it is.
Gets
Birdie.
his birdie. He's at 4 as well. That is.
Okay, so we got Scott and Cale
Yeah.
at 4, and I guess Paul finished the hole. He's at +2 with that 6, and then Brinster's putting in for
Another par.
par at 1 down. That's the front 9.
Yeah, that's going to finish this up here. So we're going to take a look at the scores again, as we mentioned. Really just Paul with the blemishes on the card so far. Everyone else keeping it pretty clean. Steve, man, a lot of pars there.
Par, birdie, par.
So we're going to take a look at some of the other scores. Look at that. We have someone from Finland up at the top. These are through, I would say, their entire rounds. These are not through 9. So these are some of the scores coming in to finish out and kind of where this feature card is trying to reach. Round 1, the 2024 Tim Selinske U.S. Masters. See you on the back 9.
See ya. Peace.